What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Herself podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope you all have been having a great week and a great October. Beverage of the day check. I got this pack of different wellness teas from Traditional Medicinals, and this is their immunity elderflower spice tea. I've been drinking a lot of peppermint tea recently. They have like a eucalyptus mint tea that's really good. But yeah, it's that time of year, y'all. It's time to start drinking tea. And can I just say, I never thought of myself as a fall girly. Y'all know I lived in LA. I never really got super into holidays. Like, I just remember Halloween in LA. It was kind of just always like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden it'd be Halloween. Living on the East Coast, living in a place where there's seasons, it's like, I get it. And I think especially living here, you get so much more in the spirit because I'm walking around every day seeing everyone's Halloween decorations and you just see the leaves turning. Literally, one of the highlights of my day every day is like picking out a cute outfit. Even if it's not the most, stunning 10 out of 10 outfit, it's like just being able to pick out a cozy outfit and like up my sweater and coat collection. And like I bought a scarf the other day. I bought some like new little boots. It's like, I get it. Like, am I a fall girly now? This is also exactly a year ago when me and Sonia were in New York, and that was the last time that I was out here before I moved. So I'm like, oh my god, it's just crazy. That does not really feel like a year ago. It was a year ago that I had decided, okay, I'm gonna make this move. And I was starting to sell everything in my apartment in LA and like really planning out everything. Like, that's just so crazy. But yeah, so let me know if you're a fall girly. Like, I don't even remember growing up because I grew up where it would like be fall, but I'm trying to remember, like, I don't know. Kind of gives me a nostalgic feeling, though, of, like, growing up. Like, in the early years of being a kid and stuff and just, like, walking to school and the leaves and just that smell of, like, Halloween with, like, candles from the pumpkins and, like, the nighttime air and, like, the leaves and like kind of candy. Like, oh my god, I just feel like I'm living an aesthetic mood board every day. Like, even if I'm not having the best day, it's still like I'm living out an aesthetic mood board. Something else I've really noticed, and I actually tweeted about this a couple weeks ago, but ever since the weather dropped a few degrees, the amount of people reading their book on the train has increased, I swear, like 5,000%. Bro, during the whole summer, you wouldn't really see people, I at least would not see people reading on the train. And, like, you see tweets here and there, like, oh, do you guys think reading on the train is, like, embarrassing? Or, like, not embarrassing, but, like, corny. Like, kind of, like, okay, we get it. You're an intellectual. Like, oh my god, like, you'd rather be reading your book than on your phone. It's like you're doing this because you know how it looks. Like, you want to fulfill that aesthetic fantasy. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but, like, you know what I mean. It's kind of like, okay, we get it. Ever since it's turned a little colder, in the past month or so, like, you cannot take a train without seeing, like, 3 people reading. And I mean, that's good, that's great. We want to encourage that. But it's just, like, it's so funny. I'm like, I think what I tweeted was, like, these fall Pinterest boards are really getting to y'all. And, like, the other day, because I will carry a book around. Like, I will. Especially recently, like, I finally got my New York Library card. I've been trying to read more, get my Goodreads, reading challenge up, like, finish that. I think I finished it, because I think my goal was 15 books, which, like, isn't that many. It's, like, a book a month, plus a couple more, I think I finished it, though. So I'm just trying to, like, read as much as possible. The other week, I wanted to finish this book, because I wanted to return it, so I was like, okay, I'll just, like, finish it on the train really quick. Bro, this girl sits next to me and starts reading her book. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to read mine now. Like, that looks so embarrassing. And I mean, it's not. Like, I know somebody would think, like, why are you making fun of that? Like, you should be happy people are doing that. But it's like, you know what I mean. A specific image that I'm thinking of is, like, that interview was with, was it Dylan Sprouse? And he's, like, smoking a cigarette, and he's just, like, trying so hard to portray this, like, artsy, like, lost, like, soul. Like, oh my god, I'm just, like, I'm such a complex artist. Like, that's just who I am. I'm so deep. But it's like you're trying to do that. You're not just doing it. Like, that's not just naturally how you are. Like, that's what it gives sometimes. And, like, maybe we're just reading too into it, but it's like, let me be a hater in peace. I also love the fact that so many of the trends from when I was in specifically middle school are coming back. So, like, I also tweeted this, but the other day, bro, I literally made a purchase, an online order from Abercrombie. And I know Abercrombie's kind of like rebranded and like they have a lot of really cute basics. I really like their jeans. These jeans I'm wearing right now, they're actually from Poshmark, but they're Abercrombie. Literally, they fit so good. They're like a low rise. They're not the low rise baggy. I don't know when these are from, but they're like a low rise, just like a light wash jean. But literally the other day, I was wearing Abercrombie jeans, an Abercrombie hoodie, and I straightened my hair. And I got Starbucks, but that's like normal. And like, it's different. Obviously, it's like a little different from when maybe you were like in middle school, or maybe you were in high school, or like, you have your memories probably with that era. Like, back then, skinny jeans were more trendy. Now it's like a little more baggy. Now it's like the shorter Uggs, the Ugg like slippers, the Taz, instead of like the higher Uggs. And then back then we would wear like all the hoodie, like your sweater or your hoodie had to say like Hollister on it or Abercrombie. Aeropostale was like okay, but like you really wanted Hollister or Abercrombie. I feel like I was more of a Hollister girly back then. I feel like also just for my age, like Abercrombie just seemed a little more mature. Like it was a little more, I don't know. I just remember buying way more stuff from Hollister. Every time I'm back home, I always like mean to go to the mall and just see how it's changed. Bellis Fair Mall. If you've been, if you're Canadian and you used to shop there, let me know. Bro, so funny. Actually in LA at the dentist, the receptionist was like, "Oh, you're from Bellingham? That's so funny. She wasn't from Vancouver. I forget what little ass town she was from in Canada, like right across the border. But she was like, we would always go over the border to Bellingham and go to Taco Bell because we didn't have one there." Yeah, that's, everyone would always make fun of the Canadian. Ballet flats are coming back. Like, I used to wear flats all the time. And then it was, like, suddenly, like, ew, who wants to wear that? Or, like, how kitten heels were kind of, like, more trendy. I love that. Like, I will still wear, I prefer a kitten heel because it's more comfortable and I'm already, like, 6 feet tall. Not actually, I'm, like, 5'8". But it's way better, especially in New York where you're walking miles and miles. It's like, I'm not going to wear a full heel. I couldn't tell you the last time I wore a full heel. I also did get my hair darker this past week, which I did for fall, and then also it had just kind of lightened up a lot as the color washed out over the past few months and over the summer. So, we got it a little darker, and it's technically the same like level, but I told her I wanted it a little more cool toned because last time I felt like it was very warm and I just didn't want it that warm. Like I just didn't feel like it was, I don't know, I just didn't really like it. So she actually added blue and green, so it looks darker, but it's actually not darker. But I really like it for fall, and like I just feel chic. Like I made my brows way skinnier, and I'm just kind of in this new like fall chic era. Somebody actually asked me recently, they were like, "Oh, I've noticed like you haven't been posting as much on YouTube. Like, are you starting to move away from that, or like what's your vibe?" And I just feel like it's changed for me with getting older. Like obviously social media has changed a lot. I feel like it changes so much every year in so many different ways, like the aesthetics, the trends, and then just which platforms are the most poppin', the algorithms, like everything changes so much. I feel like for me, like I just used to be a lot more open with my personal life and relationships and like friendships, and I just always wanted everyone to be in my videos, and I just wanted to film everything. And in a way that was very freeing because it's like I genuinely didn't care. Like it's not like I would have people in my videos like to try to, I don't know, make it seem a certain way. Like it was just always very natural and organic. But I think as I get older, more and more, I just value my privacy a lot more, and just having relationships just be like between me and that person, and not, and this goes for like any type of relationship, like friendship, like whatever, but then it's like, damn, my content is a lot less interesting because I'm like, oh, I want to vlog, but then it's like, well, if I'm doing something interesting, it's usually like with people, and it's like I don't necessarily want to put my friends or whoever in this content. And I just feel like it's like, bro, I don't want to do things for like views in that way. I don't know. It's not like I'm over social media. because in a lot of ways, like, it's like I still love taking pictures. I love, like, making videos, but it's no longer this thing where I just want to, like, film everything I'm doing all the time and, like, post it, which, again, that was, like, very fun, very freeing, and, like, just kind of being naive and young. It's like I just genuinely didn't really care. Like, I was like, well, I don't have anything to hide, like, and it's not like I do now, but it's just kind of like some things I just would rather keep private. And I think as you get older too, it's like you can't really, like, blame stuff on, like, oh, I'm just, like, young and, like, I didn't know. You know, it's like, oh, I know, my brain, the prefrontal cortex is developed, babe. And I just don't care. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't need to, like, post everything that I'm doing. Or, like, you know, if something happens and, like, people just, ew, and I'm not trying to sound, like, annoying or, like, I don't know. But it's like, you know, if something's happening and, like, people just need to, like, post it. It's like, I just don't feel that. Like, if I'm posting on my story, it's because I'm like, oh, this is, like, aesthetic. Like, it's not, oh, I want people to, like, know that I'm at this place, or that I'm, like, doing this, or, like, that I'm with this person, or, like, I genuinely don't care about clout. I don't care. Like, everything I do with social media, it's because it's, like, I like doing that. Like, if I'm taking pictures and posting pictures, it's because I'm enjoying that. It's not like, oh, I don't know. And then it's, like, a balance, too, because it's, like, obviously, if something's your work and you're making money off of it, you want it to do well so that you can, like, support yourself and continue to do what you enjoy doing. So it's, like, when is enough enough? And it's, like, yeah, if you're, like, I'm thinking of, like, Krishan giving birth on IG Live. It's, like, or even just reality stars in general. It's, like, if you want to put all your business out there, it's, like, you will be rewarded in the sense of, like, people will be talking about you, you'll be making money, but it's, like, is that worth your dignity, your privacy, your relationships, you know, how your relationships will change if you start gaining a lot of popularity, and, like, how the people around you will change because, oh, they see you have that, they want that, so they want in, so they're willing to do whatever it takes to, like, get in on that, you know, and, like, be fake. It's just kind of been interesting the past couple years, I guess, and, like, this year especially. I thought moving to New York, not that it hasn't been inspiring, but I thought I would be, like, posting a lot more than I am. But it's, like, instead I've been, like, living my life a lot more and, like, posting less, which is not a bad thing, but it's, like, it's just interesting. Like, when I was alone in my apartment in LA, like, when I was back home, let's take it all the way back. When I was, like, growing up and I was just going to school, like, I would do my homework and all I would do is, like, YouTube. So I just kind of have felt recently like I'm in this space of, like, trying to find a balance, because it's not like I'm over this, but it's, like, just how I do it has changed. And I'll be, like, planning my videos. Like, this month I wanted to do, like, a week in my life, but then it's like, okay, well, how much am I actually willing to, like, show? And sometimes it just feels difficult because I don't want to share literally everything. So those are just some things I've been thinking about. I love taking photos. I love, like, aesthetics, and I love, you know, sharing a positive message with you guys and uplifting people and motivating people and sharing, like, what works for me. If it's, like, staying organized or, like, staying with a good workout routine, or I don't know. I'm like, how much of this is, like, reasonable, like, okay, like, I just want privacy, and then how much is, like, I'm unwilling to get out of my comfort zone, like, I don't know. So, just things to think about. Recent book read, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. This book was I had heard a lot about this book. I feel like it was always, like I'd seen it on people's memes and, like, like, you know, like, those really girly, like, just girly things, no, but, like, girly, like, meme pages. I feel like I would always, like, see this book, and so I finally read it. It was very captivating. I was able to get through it in a couple days because it was just very interesting. But overall, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I just thought it was going to be way different. And, like, how much do I spoil? It's like, does anyone really care? Okay, if you don't want it to be spoiled, don't listen to this. If you've read it, let's chat. So basically it's about this girl in her, like, late 20s, and she's obviously depressed, and she's like, I want to take a year off, basically, and just sleep. And so she finds this, she's in New York City, she finds this kind of fucked up psychiatrist she can kind of lie to, and, like, she's basically saying, oh, I can't sleep. So she gets all these different medications, sleeping pills, like, so many sedatives, and just, like, everything, so she can basically be asleep, like, 24 hours a day. And she gets prescribed this one pill, and it's like, oh, only take this if you really need it. And she takes it and ends up like it makes her sleepwalk. It makes her like do all these things, like go to appointments, book things, like go shopping. She basically has like agoraphobia at this point. Like she only can really walk a couple blocks to pick up her prescriptions and get coffee, and like she doesn't do anything. She's obviously like going through it. Like both her parents died. So you're like, this is fucked up. Like it was kind of like ew to read, because if you've ever been in like a negative mental space, if you've ever struggled with mental health, like it was honestly kind of triggering to read. So I was like, how is this gonna go? Because it was like interesting. Like it's like I didn't want to put it down because I'm like, what's gonna happen? So her friend's mom dies, and like her friend's like, oh, please come to the funeral, like please. And she's like, oh, I can't make it. But then she takes that pill and wakes up on the train to Long Island, and like she has like a new outfit, she has like flowers, she has like whatever. It's like when she was sleepwalking on this medication, she got all this stuff. So I thought the book was gonna be like I don't know, maybe she freaks out, but then maybe like her subconscious kind of takes over and starts to like help her get better when she's like in this sleepwalking kind of blackout state. Like I don't know, I just thought it was gonna kind of go down that route, but instead it's kind of like, okay, she ends up there, she goes to the funeral, she goes back home, and then she just continues the cycle. And then the book ends with like she locks herself in her apartment for a year, and then she's like, oh well, I guess I'm better now. And she hires this guy to like bring her food every few days and like take out the trash, but she like gets rid of her phone, she throws her phone away. It's just like it didn't, I thought it was just gonna end way differently, like more uplifting. Like she gets help, like she gets over this, and she realizes this isn't like a way to live. But instead it's like, oh, this healed me. So I kind of wish it had an alternate ending, because again, like it was very well written in the sense that it was very captivating, and like it was just genuinely so interesting. Like I didn't want to put it down, but then I was kind of like, this is disappointing. Would I recommend it? I guess. Like I don't know. Like I just kind of felt like ew after reading. So yeah, that's gonna be all I talk about today. Let me know what you want me to talk about next week. Let me know how your fall is going. Do you have Halloween plans? LMK. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow the IG at Stella Podcast, and I will talk to you next week. Bye everyone.